This is the part in the show where I get to rave or talk about the Arizona Cardinals. As I've told you guys many times, but the channel keeps growing, I'll repeat it. Credentialed media member, I cover the Arizona Cardinals, cover all Arizona sports for Fox Sports 9:10 a.m., and I just got back maybe an hour or so ago from Cardinals training camp. And the main outlook today was a little bit more of a slower day on Cardinals training camp. They have fast-paced, what they call it, hard, medium, easy days. Today was probably a little bit more of an easier day, a lot of scrimmaging, a lot of route running, not as much craziness that you would expect from a typical training camp day. But we were given a little bit of a treat as the media. I didn't realize until I showed up that Marvin Harrison Jr. would be speaking to the media. And that's where I want to really hone in just a second. So I'll put a pin in that. I am thoroughly impressed by my couple of times going out to training camp. I'll be there the rest of the week as well. I'll be there at the red and white scrimmage as well. I'm thoroughly impressed by the maturity of this team. I wasn't out there for the Cliff Kingsbury stories. I can only be told the stories of them. I can only be told of what had happened and how different it is now. I've never seen a dysfunctional organization up close and personal like I am seeing a competent organization up close and personal in Jonathan Gannon and the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals clearly made a statement in free agency and in the offseason and in the draft this year. You better be no nonsense. You better stay healthy. And you better understand it's a we, not me atmosphere. Kyler Murray has understood that. A guy that was completely what was seen as selfish, bratty, immature at times, has flipped the script completely. He's not snippy with the media. He's happy to be around. It seems like he realized he doesn't have to be a life preserver anymore for the Arizona Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim. And that's what has been my main takeaway. Being able to sit up close and personal, hearing the players talk, seeing the players interact with fans, seeing the players talk with the media. I'm not one to wave the pom-poms around. I have, at times, advocated for coaches to be fired, advocated for players to be released, held players accountable, held Kyler Murray's feet to the fire. I think it's important as well to outline the positives and the negatives. The biggest negative I've seen from training camp is physical, meaning the defensive line is terrible. I mean, it is awful. It can't be understated how bad it is, especially on the edge. It's not horrible in the interior. It's probably average and then TBD on Darius Robinson. But the edge rushing room is not great. Hopefully Nick Rawlis and Jonathan Gannon can figure that out. And maybe they do. Everything else has been a positive. Everything else has been perfect. Everything else has been exactly what you wanted to see from an organization that has no expectations this year and is trying to take the NFL world by surprise. And that's exactly what the Arizona Cardinals have done. They've been mature. They've been held to a different standard. And they don't care about superstars. They don't care about stats. They're looking to get the players that will change the culture in the locker room because it was so toxic for so long. It's why Kyler Murray had to flip a switch. It's why they went after guys like Darius Robinson, which was looked as a stretch in the first round, but he never gets injured. He only cares about football. And the free agency acquisitions we saw, everyone they got, either high character, never injured, or contain both of those attributes. That's what the Cardinals went after. And they're a team that is setting a new standard. I can only tell you about Camp Cliff and all the issues that they had, whether it was snack breaks on the sideline, phone breaks on the sideline. There was the joke that it was called Camp Cliff, almost like it was just a hotel and a stay in a resort, and sometimes we worked. It's different. Jonathan Gannon just commands a locker room, just commands players better on the field. It seems like they respect him, and it's fun to be able to see Monty Ossenfort on the sidelines, and you're wondering what his next move is going to be, and not worrying about how Steve Keim is going to blow it. Here's the one thing I'll say, and I've said it a few times. The Arizona Cardinals, under this regime, Jonathan Gannon, Monty Ossenfort, they might never win a Super Bowl, but they were always going to be a competent organization. They're always going to be to the likes of a Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, always competent organizations, and that's what matters. That's all you can ask for. Just give your team a chance every year. Now, are they going to have down seasons? Sure, but it's not going to be like the old Cardinals. This team's different. It's just different. And that brought me to my last point. I mentioned earlier, the Arizona Cardinals were given all the media members a treat today by allowing us to sit and talk with Marvin Harrison Jr. And I'll be honest with you, he didn't say a ton of things worth noting. I posted everything on this YouTube page, on the shorts, everything that he had said. There's things on Instagram. Just look for Ben Garcia Show on any social media platform, including YouTube, and you'll find all the things that he said. But my biggest takeaway from Marvin Harrison Jr., that in a consistently diva-oriented wide receiver world in the NFL, constantly getting their bag, constantly telling everyone how great they are, constantly selling themselves, constantly getting advertisements, Marvin Harrison Jr. is just different. You know, I related him to his father, Marvin Harrison. I said he's just a chip off the old block. He's very similar to what Marvin Harrison Sr. was all about. Reserved, quiet, do the work, and just be an awesome wide receiver. It's tough not to see young Larry Fitzgerald and Marvin Harrison Jr. He even kind of looks the part. The short dreads, the yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am attitude. No trash talking coming from Marvin Harrison Jr. He mentioned that today. Always praising everyone else, not trying to take the spotlight, just wants to go there and work. And it was one of those things where back when we were deciding what should the Arizona Cardinals do in the draft, I was advocating for trade the pick if you can get a haul. Now, a haul was 3 first-round picks, so I wasn't just trading that pick just to trade that pick. But if you sent me back in time and you said 3 first-round picks, would you do it? After talking with Marvin Harrison Jr., after getting an up-close and personal look with Marvin Harrison Jr., I wouldn't. The guy is Larry Fitzgerald reincarnated, at least as a personality type. Can he live up to the Hall of Fame expectations? I don't know. That kind of feels unfair to put on someone. But the way he answers, his mannerisms, the yes sir, no sir attitude, the always taking blame and giving credit, he's exactly like a young Larry Fitzgerald. And I think he couldn't have landed in a better organization in the Arizona Cardinals than to take care of him. And being able to be mentored by his father, Marvin Harrison, is just going to add another extra layer of awesome to Arizona Cardinals wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. He's exactly what the Cardinals needed. To the point where I don't know if we could go back in time, you could offer me anything that I would take it. Because being there, being up close and personal, seeing what not a lot of the public gets to see, he is all about ball. He is nothing about himself. Now, there's news outlets and stuff out, guys trying to spew his personality one way or another because his jersey isn't out for sale yet. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Everything he does comes off as authentic. And it fits the culture of this locker room. And it fits the narrative of players that the Arizona Cardinals, Monty Ossenfort, and Jonathan Gannon want. I don't think they pick Marvin Harrison Jr. if he doesn't fit their culture. He fits it to a T. And the Arizona Cardinals are going to continue the good times rolling because of Jonathan Gannon, because of Monty Ossenfort, because of the maturity in the players. But a big, young, bright spot is the wide receiver that's going to grow up in this organization with a connection to Kyler Murray that will be one of the most dangerous in the NFL. And that's the main thing that I saw from Marvin Harrison Jr. and the Arizona Cardinals.